at today's shoot. So we have all of our talents, our models today, and this is the lighting setup. So let me go ahead and go over it real quick and introduce everybody. So we have Anefre, best friend from high school. We have two people that also just jumped in real quick. We have Jane and Nicole, and then switching over to the right side, we have Claire, all the way from 10 hours away, and then we have Josh Overzone manning the BTS camera. We have my fiance in the background. And we also have, switch around to yourself. So this is the team for today. We are super excited to get the shoot going. We're starting off with Root, but let me go ahead and explain the camera setup so you guys understand. Here's flash, okay? So we have our main flash that I talked about in episode 3, and this is going from a top-down angle here. Everything is blanketed, of course, to be respectful of the home. And then we also have a second light, the right light. So this is the 120D shooting off the right side here. Also with a honeycomb grid. If you've seen all the gear videos I've talked about so far, then you know what this does. It's going to focus in light a little bit better. But we might take it off, take it on, depending on how the sun goes. In the meantime, if you check out the weather, it's terrible. So the weather is really bad right now, but it's okay. We can just kind of fix it with flash. And other than that, this is a really beautiful set. We'll have some BTS rolling on over here, and then we'll get started with Root.
Okay, from the editing station, I'm going to go ahead and break down some of the biggest shots from the overall day, starting first off with Root. So this is kind of like your headliner shot. Here we have two people. We have Anefre on the left and we have Claire on the right side, and they are going to be, of course, just playing games directly across from each other. I'm also going to be stepping off to the side and then shooting with the 85mm lens. That way you get a really nice soft focus around the edges of the frame, and the complete focus is around the subjects playing our main board game. This is going to be your main shot for pretty much every single game that you see today. Now, it's also important to note that the mood I was going for this particular shoot was light, airy, vibrant, also something that is very, very inviting, something that you want to just join in on the table and play games with everyone involved in the shoot. So with the factions, I had Anefre choose the Marquise Cat on the left side, and then we have the Irie played by Claire on the right side. Their boards are aligned, of course, in front of them. So all the components are aligned as if this is how they would actually play it. You also have a couple choices here. You could either put Root, the box itself, in focus, or the subjects in focus. I chose to have the expressions more in focus because Root is very clear in the background. You know exactly what game this is. You saw the light setup, so you see how very nice, soft, and kind of natural the light looks on their faces. And then in terms of expression, those are as important as well. Anefre is more comfortable kind of just leaning with his left hand over there, kind of supporting his chin. And then Claire's more comfortable kind of just sitting up straight and then holding cards in the right hand. And of course, we're going to have a classic, beautiful smile on this main shot. Now, if you know Root, you know that Root actually isn't a very lighthearted game. It's actually a very cutthroat game. So I wanted to capture that as well in terms of the mechanics and the expression. So we're obviously not going to be smiling the entire time we're playing games, and I wanted to make sure I am able to visualize that moment as well. So in this shot, I wanted to get a little more creative and have Nicole and Anefre be the foreground, and then you have a different perspective onto another player, aka Claire dropping a set of 6 Iries that you would typically drop when you are roosting in a location on the Root map. As I was editing the photo too, I also made the board game a little bit more contrasty so you can see distinct components. And I could have removed the light switches in the background, but I really wanted to showcase that this was a home. So the light switches stayed on the wall, but for the painting, you might have seen earlier that it was a freaking cow painting in the set, which I didn't plan for and I didn't even see at all when I was booking this set. So every time you see a cropped photo of this, it's usually when you can't tell what it is, but now that you've seen what it actually was, it limited a lot of my angles that day. So that was one thing I had to be careful of as well. Now, to switch it up and give some variety to the shots, this time I wanted the board games in focus. I wanted the mechanism at play in focus, and I wanted the expressions in the background to be out of focus. That way, we have some variety in order to mix it up and get different types of shots. So for this one, I wanted Anefre to give a subtle shock. And then Nicole, actually she broke character here, but originally I wanted her to just act as if like you just made an amazing play. You're playing as the Woodland Alliance and you are causing an uprising, so give me your fierce face. And of course she broke character, which honestly thought it made for a much better, more candid picture. So that's why I really loved this particular photo.
So we just finished Root. As expected, it took longer than usual, and we might come back to it. We might go to different couple sets if we have time, but for now, I think the plan originally was to go through Viticulture, which again would be the second most complicated game today. But at this rate, we have about 6 to 7 hours left of the set. So we're gonna try to shoot through the lighter games first, starting off with Zombie Dice and see how it goes from there.
Okay, and the challenge that you face when you are trying to photograph lighter games is how do you showcase the components when there are minimal amounts of them. So in Zombie Dice Deluxe, we have literally dice, we have one marker, and we have a couple player boards on top of a zombie dice bag. So how do I showcase all those components? So what I eventually ended up doing was switching over to the living room side, and in this particular part of the set, there are so many details here that you can overlook, and I'm going to break down all of them. Positioning is important. You have your quote main player in the middle, so Claire here is rolling the center dice, and then we have everyone else that is intrigued or expressing some form of emotion towards those dice. Now I didn't really direct too much, I kind of just let them play on their own, and then I just slightly adjusted different expressions depending on the person. So for this one, I was like, Jane, how about you just give me a simple smile? And then Nasir, I want you to look almost worried as if she's going to beat your score. And Nefre, give me the same smile as Jane, so we kind of have some proportionality, or at least just we have some balance between the right frame and the left frame. And then lastly, Nicole, to finish off the entire set, I want you to kind of think about and almost smile as if you're hoping for her to win instead of Nasir. So that's the kind of story I played out here, and let all of them interpret that particular story. Now in the background, you also notice that there are family frames. I chose this specific location because I like the family frames, even though you can't obviously see the family in the background. Again, this is a home. I wanted to be inviting, so I feel like family portraits were just something that you naturally see in a set like this. Notice here how the restroom door, if it was a little bit off-center to the side, for example, if it was in between Nefre and Claire, that would have ruined some leading lines, so I had Claire be positioned directly above it, so that way we have one straight line, again pointing towards her, our center player. And then lastly, the angles for this really does matter, because again, you want to capture that dice, so that's why I'm at a low angle, and then you'll see a reflective surface on the table if you're at a low angle like that. So that's also really nice too. It provides a really nice point of interest for the box, the zombie dice box, as well as the dice, and you can subtly see the player boards as well. I also had Nasir in particular hold the marker because again, I want him to be kind of worried about what Claire is going to be rolling, so I had him hold that. And then lastly, we have a chair in the background because I could kind of see Nicole's shoes, so the gray chair in the front was blocking, so we don't see that, and we just have a flat surface that we are focusing on overall. Lastly, like you saw in the B-roll, I wanted an action shot, not just them kind of holding it around, but rather just rolling and going into the full-on depth of the game. So that's why I really wanted a rolling action shot, and I think it turned out really nice. So definitely think about your environment, think about placement of subjects, think about expressions, think about every single little detail that you can, especially for lifestyle shots like this. Obviously, you want it to look fun as well. That's going to be your main focus, but you really want to think about all those little details that are going to add to the overall story you are trying to tell.
So we just got a brand new model in.
Wait.
Charity. Wait, what?
I was just flipping these around.
Okay. So we just got a brand new model in. Charity is finally here. So we are working on viticulture now. Actually, we want to get through the next complicated board game, but I feel like we have tightened lighting pretty well now. So we have our flash up top, and then really natural lights coming in. The sun is peeking through, so the light is looking really, really solid right now. I'm gonna put some pictures up right here, and we're gonna keep going.
Okay, so this was one of my absolute favorite shots of the entire day. If you look at my mood board, which I'll throw up real quick, it's like pretty much exactly how I envisioned it to be. This is the type of creativity I wanted to reach. Took me a whole morning to get here, but the lighting is like perfect. It's airy, it's clean, it's vibrant. And then Charity, I just cracked a joke at her, so she's laughing on her own. I'm not telling her to like purposefully laugh. At this time too, it's the very first time we are introducing the Automa, so solo player mode. Couple more details, you'll notice here how the door is swung open, that way all the light just floods the room and the entire background. I also wanted to create a ton of separation between her, the door, and the wall, so the door acts as the mid-ground separator that I always talk about. And last thing, the player board, I wanted that in focus, so that's why I pushed it more towards her, so that we can see more of the components that is individualized, and versus the main player board up front, which is definitely out of focus on purpose. And then lastly, as a solo player, I wanted her to be having fun, enjoying the game, so of course she has one of the meeples in her hand, ready to put down a worker placement action.
So we are on our very last game. We just wrapped up Fort. Ideally, I would like to get some more creative shots because mostly, like I said, they're kind of just really, really fun, lighthearted shots, which are really nice, of course, but it would be really cool to get something that's a little more me in it, if we can. But we have 40 minutes left of the set for today. Either way, we have more than enough photos for every single publisher. I'm like really happy with them, how they turned out. But Fort over here, like I said, is what we wrapped up with. I'm super excited with the photos. Can't wait to show you all. I'm gonna pop up on the screen so you can see. And yeah, it's been a long day for everybody, especially for my models who have been smiling nonstop. Genuinely though. And other than that, we are gonna be cleaning up soon. We booked 4 hours extra just to make sure we have, team meeting time and eating time for breakfast and lunch and just things to just get ready before we switch out clothes and all that good stuff. So it's been a fun day, been a long day, been very, very difficult. Nasir, how you feeling about this shoot?
It's been a great time. Yeah.
Mid-mail.
No, I think the place is beautiful. Tim has been great, just guiding everybody and providing different kind of recommendations. Everything is like super well thought out. All like the lighting, it's been dope.
Yeah, but like 9 games, dude, all at once. Honestly, 9 games is a lot.
It is a lot, but I think once we got the flow of things, it's been like, like the first one took the longest, and afterwards it's been kind of being better for sure.
Because I feel like we get some stable shots, and then we still mix in a couple of different unique ones
Yeah.
for each publisher, so that way everyone has something a little bit different, even if it's the same stage. We kind of mixed up the set to use the living room area.
Yeah.
If we had more time, of course, it'd be great if we can mix in, a table outside, and even I think they have like a second, like a mini golf course, a mini golf course over there, which I thought would be really fun for shoots, but run out of time, so it is what it is.
Okay, now what you're about to see is probably one of the most epic moments of the entire shoot. At the very last moment, we had about 10 to 7 minutes left of the set, and at that time, I was like, you know what? I kind of remembered my mood board, and I told everyone, I was like, for this mood board, I really wish we could have done at least one more pose for every single board game, but we don't have enough time. And Anefre and Charity, everyone has very distinct, strong, and unique personalities here. So Anefre and Charity are probably the most level-headed people, and they automatically said, no, we got to clean up. We don't want to be late, and then they're going to overcharge us, so let's just clean up. The other 3, however, are way more spontaneous. And they were like, you know what? Let's just do it. 7 minutes left. Let's get it done. So we all looked at each other. I made a snap decision. All right, let's go ahead and do it. Go for it. And we recreated this pose by an amazing photographer, Jasmine Ali. So I just reinterpreted what I wanted to see in board game form. And this was the epic shootout that came from 7 minutes of every single board game.
Nice. Whoever's sitting should hold it.
Okay, Josh, your turn.
Oh, Josh, you should throw it like this.
Yeah, by this moment, we were extremely in sync, so I barely had to tell them anything. If anything, I just had to reposition them a little bit and then just snap the photo. But everyone was so in sync, and it worked out perfectly.
The box in the way. The box. I need to forward that now. On the chair's fine. Yeah, just throw on the chair. Throw over there. Yeah. I'll be wine for. Okay, and ready. One. Should I come from the top? Oh, so, can someone the top box? This box? Yep. Throw it over here. Cool. All right, ready. 1, 2, and 3. Clear her a little higher. Perfect. Thank you guys so much for joining in on today's video. Super excited that you're all here, and hope you all enjoyed the series. It's a wrap.